welcome back to Val and Loki Reacts. I am Val, of course. Great to see you guys again. Hope you've been enjoying our last few trailer reactions, so we're gonna keep on rolling with them. And today, in the spirit of October and Halloween, we are gonna be reacting to The Witches. The trailer just dropped a couple of days ago, but playing catch up this week. So, and the witches we're talking about, of course, are not the icky fate witches or the witches in Narnia. We are talking about Roald Dahl's The Witches. This is a classic story. I remember reading this eons ago, what it feels like, but it's an amazing book in a series of amazing books from Roald Dahl, who was responsible for hits like The BFG and Matilda. Super classic, absolutely love it, all the way to Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, which will forever live on in infamy. But anyway, so getting on to this, I'm super excited to see what this trailer has in store. So I believe it's starring Anne Hathaway and a whole plethora of other amazing actors. I have not read or seen anything about this trailer before. I honestly didn't even know it was coming. So I'm very excited to see what they're gonna do. So let's just get right into it, all right? And enjoy. Here we go.
My story begins when I was a young boy.
You'll be comfy here in your mama's old room. I'd do anything for her to be here right now.
God, I love her.
Grandma was a tough lady with a big heart.
Oh, I believe it.
Little by little, she brought me out of my sadness.
Aww.
I didn't know it.
Oh, absolutely loved her in The Help.
There was a dark shadow looming nearby. Witches.
Wow.
They're real. And they hate children.
Oh, there's the star. Oh, Stanley Tucci.
Learning all around this hotel.
I would call the exterminator.
You see, girls? He would exterminate those brats.
Rats. We would exterminate the rats.
Would you?
I feared this was happening. Then here,
Oh.
the test is coming. Ladies,
Oh my gosh.
the transform a child into
She's
a mouse.
levitating.
Whoa! Why are we mouses? Nice. Whatever. Grandma, it's me.
Is that you, boy?
Love Octavia.
Let you get away with your filthy, evil plot. Who's gonna stop me?
Ooh.
Doesn't matter who you are or what you look like, so long as somebody loves you.
You wouldn't happen to be carrying around a mouse on your person, now would you?
A mouse.
Mm-hmm.
Why on earth would I be carrying around a mouse?
Amazing. Amazing. Wow. So, I gotta say, I wasn't disappointed. I'm really interested to see how they're gonna do this. So I remember seeing the old adaptation of The Witches with Angelica Houston in it, and I remember being terrified of her as a witch, as the Grand High Witch. But it's also fascinating. And that movie, even though I guess you could think of it as a kid's movie, there were so many aspects of, just their natural appearance. And of course, the Grand High Witch is the most nasty looking of them all. She has to be because she's so evil. But there were so many creepy aspects of it too. Whenever they talk about, spoilers for anybody who hasn't seen the former adaptation of it. but there was a part about a young girl being sucked into a painting, and that's how she lived out her life. Her name escapes me. I swear it's on the tip of my tongue, but it escapes me. But I remember watching that part, and it was so eerie because was her name Erica or something like that. But she was stuck in that painting, and you wouldn't see her move, but she would. Every time you look at the painting, she was in a different place, and she grew old and everything. But I remember that entire scene, or that sequence of the classic movie, would just creep me out so much. So I wonder if this is going to be a little bit more lighthearted, I guess, and how they approach it with the look, or if it's going to be just as creepy, but enjoyable. But I'm loving the cast that they put together for this movie. Anne Hathaway, I wouldn't have thought of her for that role, but, and I'm a little thrown off with the accent, of course, but I don't know, maybe she'll be able to pull it off. Who knows? I'm loving the look and the color, the setting. It looks amazing. With all the color grading and everything they're doing for it, really pops. And then you have Stanley Tucci, which, I mean, come on. Stanley Tucci is a legend to me. I love so many movies that he has been in. And for him and Anne Hathaway to work in a movie together again, like they had formerly been in Devil Wears Prada, and and I love that movie too. So to see them in this movie together again is so amazing. And then Octavia Spencer. Oh my God, how much of a legend is she? She is amazing. I love her. I loved her in The Help. I loved her as Minnie, and the attitude and the passion that she puts towards her roles and everything is so wonderful. So I'm really interested to see what she brings to the grandmother role in this, because she's supposed to know all about the witches and their history, what they do, and all of that. And I really want to see how this plays out. And one more aspect that I'm really looking forward to looking at as well is if they're going to give a little bit more of the book content to it, because as for anybody who's seen the classic, the former adaptation, they didn't include everything from the story as far as at the very end. They did it a little bit differently in the former adaptation from what you read in the book. So in the book, they go on to say that Luke, who's the little boy, gets transformed into a mouse. He actually lives out the rest of his life, I believe, as a mouse. And they also find, they find the Grand High Witches. They find like her address book and stuff and they kind of show that in the adaptation of all these other witches around the world and everything. And she's got like this big estate or manor or something way out there in the middle of the world, and they know where it is. And they, him and Luke and his grandmother hatched this plan to try to destroy all the witches through getting there. And there's all this plan to it, but they don't address that in the adaptation. At the end of the last movie, he gets transformed back into a boy, and he's fine, and it's kind of like happy ending and everything, which is great, if you want to kind of end it on a light note. But I wonder what ending they're going to put in this new adaptation of it, and that's what I'm really curious about, because I like the fact that in the book they concentrate on, okay, how can we keep going with this? The witches are just going to keep collecting and trying to, do all these plans to take out little kids and stuff. What can we do about this? I mean, they have the resources there, so why not? So anyway, I'm very curious and very excited to see what they do with this new adaptation. So, but I'm really liking it. I'm looking forward to see if they are going to do any more content or trailers are going to be put out there for it. But definitely intrigued. And definitely just in time for Halloween. So that is wonderful. I've definitely got witches on the brain. Hocus Pocus, classic witch movie that I watch just about every year around Halloween. So I'm really feeling it this year. But anyway, so I guess we'll see if there's any more to come on that. I believe it said September 22nd. Is that right? I think it's somewhere in there, but I think it said September 22nd. Oh no, I'm sorry, October 22nd, I believe is when that should be happening. So here very soon. So we'll see what happens with that, guys. But anyway, I hope you had a great time. I hope you enjoyed this reaction, and I look forward to many more reactions to any other trailers that are gonna come around. This one definitely caught my attention. It was a very pleasant surprise, and I was not disappointed. So anyway, hope y'all have a great one, and we'll see you next time.